Hello Drive Radio fans, Richard Rush here today with my dad, John Rush, behind the camera. And this is the review of the 2016 Volkswagen Beetle. This is the SEL trim level with the R-Line package on it. And so the R-Line gives you a bigger engine, a little bit different styling, some different badging on it, which we'll go through that in just a little bit. But what's new for 2016? Honestly, not a whole lot. They've simplified some of the trim levels a little bit. They've kind of reduced it. It's not so cluttered. You have an S, an SE, and an SEL, and you can add the R-Line on there. You obviously have your convertible as well as your coupe, which again is very traditional. The new Volkswagen touchscreen display is now standard on all models, and then the new Volkswagen CarNet Connect app, or App Connect, is now on anything except for the baseline trim package. So the S trim package, it's now standard on everything else, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. This does come equipped, let me rephrase that, with CarPlay and Android Auto, which we don't have the cord with us today, so we won't really be able to show it to you, but it's exactly how you would imagine it would be. So with that being said, let's jump right in and get into the exterior. For those of you that are Beetle fans and Bug fans, you'll know this is not really a whole lot different. With the R-Line, this, again, the SEL, you've got the 19-inch wheels, which you see right there. You do have the auto bi-xenon headlights, which you see, and they work fantastic and look even better. LED running lights. You do have leather upholstery on the interior. The Fender premium audio system, which we'll show you here in just a bit, and some performance and styling upgrades. The performance side of everything, as I mentioned before, is a bigger engine. Instead of a 1.8 liter, you have a 2.0 liter four-cylinder turbocharged engine that produces 210 horsepower. And I will say this, up here at our altitude here in Colorado, it works phenomenal. No way else about it. A few other things right here is you can again see the typical Volkswagen styling, the turbo kind of badging right there. This two-tone spoiler, rear spoiler right here, which I think personally looks fantastic. Again, Volkswagen was known for redoing this just a few years ago. Really liked what they've done with the sunroof. For those of you that are familiar with the old Beetles, we actually personally as a family had one about 10 years ago, and some of the enhancements that they have made have been really subtle but much needed and really work fantastic. So we'll actually just jump right in here to the trunk space. To do it, you can either use a key fob, or right here there's no actual physical handle, but in order to do that you just push up. You can hear it unlock, and then you just lift up right there on the Volkswagen. It does have a nice privacy screen, lifts up, really works nicely. In terms of cargo capacity, some of you are going to wonder. Well, on the coupe, you have 15.4 cubic feet with the seats up. A lot of that comes from the vertical, so you would need to remove some of your privacy shield to maximize that. And then with both seats folded down, which is really easy to do, you get 30 cubic feet of cargo room, which for this size of a vehicle, absolutely fantastic, works really well. There's also some storage down here, a little bit where the spare tire goes, not a whole lot, but it's nice that they've put that here, not underneath the car, obviously. So again, really nice system there. You can either pull down right here or grab from underneath right here. It makes it really easy to close. And with that, actually, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to hop into the back seat, so we'll kind of pause the video, hop in the front seat, show you the back seat to the best of our abilities, and then go on a drive with the 2016 Volkswagen Beetle.
All right, folks, reverse roles for just a minute because I'm a little smaller than my son Richard. You can tell from the back seat here, not a lot of room. You can put some adults back here, but they're going to have to be just average size adults. Again, I'm 5'10". You can see this seat is back positioned to where somebody of my stature could ride in it, very comfortable in the front. Once I'm in the back, though, I will tell you right now, my knees are in the seat in front of me. To go any distance at all, this seat would need to go forward. But frankly, if the seat went forward about 4 inches, frankly, I could ride back here and be just fine. This car does have the sunroof, so it does drop the headliner down some, or the headroom back here. But frankly, I've got plenty of headroom for myself. Again, I'm 5'10". You start getting over that 5'11", 6-foot mark, it's going to be a little bit difficult. Getting out's real easy. I just push the button up. This will slide forward. And frankly, there's a little grab handle back here like they've always had. And I can climb right out, and there's the back seat of the 2016 Volkswagen Bug.
All right, fans, here we are for the front seat before our driving portion. I want to show you the door apportionments first. It's really, they've added some soft touch materials. There's quite a few different plastics in here, even some harder plastics. Just something to note. One thing you will note that I want to show them is the door, is the window. It does come down. This isn't a convertible, but it does come down and actually seals up into the door. So you don't actually have the weather stripping seal, and we'll show it here in a second. So exactly like that. Very similar to convertible for those of you that are familiar. As we get along into the rest of the interior, we mentioned before, part of the SEL and the R-Line is you got this nice leather upholstery in here. Really nice, fantastic. Some nice dual storage right here that you could store, I don't know, a phone, maybe a flashlight, some different articles right here, some tissues, some Kleenex, and you've got your glove box down here, of course. Everything else is pretty much what you would expect. You have your gauges up here, your oil temp right here. This is your lap time, so if you were to take this bad boy out on the track, you could, and your turbo right over there on the right hand side. This is the bigger touch screen rather than the, I believe it's a 6.3-inch touch screen if I'm not mistaken. Again, it is one of the larger ones, which does come on some of the higher trim levels. This is the 6-speed manual. We'll talk about more when we get into the driving portion. Don't have dual zone climate control, but honestly, it's a small enough cabin. You don't really need that. You do have 2 cup holders right here. One thing to note is if you do have the center armrest down, it does kind of block the path of the second cup holder. So in order to do that, you just lift it up. You have some more storage, key storage, garage door storage right back in here. And you do still have a little bit of a center console right here if you want to lift up and again store more materials. Not a whole lot. Nice R badging here on the front steering wheel. You have the ability of kind of adjusting the adaptive headlights, of adjusting the height of some of those headlights. And you have do have the push button start and stop right there. But for the most part, that's about it. So tell you what, why don't you actually hop in? We'll go for a drive and really tell you more about the meats of the 2016 Volkswagen Beetle. All right, fans, here we are for the driving portion. Before we do that, I want to show you just a few quick features. First off, the sunroof. This does have a shade that doesn't actually, I can flip it back right here, and you don't have to flip the shade back. It's got some holes in here, so if you want it to be, I guess, a little bit protected from the sun, you could do that, or you can slide it back. Notice the moonroof only comes back about halfway. That's all the way back, but it's enough to let some air in, a nice cool breeze, and again, some sunlight, but it's nice and wide, which is a huge feature and a huge selling point in our opinion. I'm sure actually the lighting helps, so maybe we'll just leave it like that. Next thing I want to show you really quick is the touchscreen display. I've been talking about that. If you've watched some of our other Volkswagen reviews, it's a very similar system. If you do go to menu, this is where you could use the app connect that I mentioned before. So if you plugged into your USB port down here, you would have Android Auto, the ability to mirror Apple CarPlay, whatever it might be, and it's really easy just to kind of swipe over and use. There's not a whole lot of learning curve, I should say. There's some images that you can upload. Again, the app connect, travel link. You can go into traffic if there was some traffic reports. Really, it's a very easy, very simple to operate system. When you're in here, all you need to do is to pinch to zoom. Really makes it nice and easy to operate. So that works really, really well. Last thing before we actually take our drive, we'll show you is the backup camera. One thing is the backup camera, you didn't notice it on the back. That's because it's in the actual emblem. The emblem flips up automatically and shows you the reverse camera. So we'll kind of back up here really quick. Again, this is the 6-speed manual. Really makes it really easy to get close to the curb, and with this vehicle makes it really easy, fun, and nice to park. Not a whole lot of difficulty. As we get moving, you actually might hear the camera itself flip back down here in just a second. But as we get driving, one thing I will notice, and we'll be quiet as we get up to here, relatively smooth, relatively quiet for a car that's so small, such a short wheelbase. Really, though, handles tremendously well. I know there's some reviewers out there that say, oh, well, a Mini will handle better, or a Fiat 500 is a little bit more sporty to drive. Personally, we really enjoyed the Beetle. We enjoyed how it handled, how it drove. The manual transmission is amazing, and that's not just an opinion, it's a fact. It's so intuitive. But real quick, I'll be quiet as we go down this hill. relatively quiet. Again, for this vehicle, you're very low to the ground. They've done some different things for the kind of the noise canceling features of it, and it really works. It does really work well. In terms of the turbo, we'll kind of show you that really quick. As it gets spooled up, it really will put you back into your seat, and you don't expect it. I mean, this thing will get up and go. It's a little rocket, to be honest with you. Really a fantastic drive. I mentioned before the manual transmission, and we'll actually get up here, turn the corner, and then or actually we'll just pull over right here. The manual transmission is very simple and easy for how you say do it yourself, or it's a very intuitive system. It's very easy and very smooth. There's not a whole lot of learning curve for when does the clutch engage and some different things like that. Really works well. So Volkswagen on that side of things, 2 thumbs up from us. In terms of price point, some of you are going to ask, this model as it sits with destination and everything, there's no additional options on here. $32,000, I believe, is about $870. This model with no destination for whatever reason, again, $31,000 and some change. Overall, really good value. Fuel economy, we've been able to average, and actually, Dad, let me scroll through here really quick. We've been able to average about 32 miles per gallon. It was actually about 35 for my dad, and then when I get it and I run this around like a little race car, put us down to about 32. It is rated for 24 and 31, so we've actually been able to do better than that, just because, again, with the manual, it gives you so much more control, but this thing does phenomenal on the highway. I want to make sure I don't miss anything else. One other thing, on the SEL, and it's hard to see, there is blind spot warning on this, and that is actually a standard feature on this vehicle. So what do we think about this? Well, I think you kind of already have heard what our opinion is. We love it. This is a great car for whoever might be in line for it. If maybe you got the kids out of the house, or maybe you're new, I don't know, a new family, or maybe you're just looking for a first car, you can get a Beetle at a relatively inexpensive price. It's a great car. You're going to have that Volkswagen, their performance capabilities and their safety. Again, 5 stars out of 5 for the Beetle. Really, this car works well. As I mentioned before, when all of us kind of kids were grown, my parents got a Beetle, and it works fantastic. It was a fun car to drive. It was actually the first car I actually drove stick shift on by myself. That just shows you how easy it is to operate itself. So for those of you interested in Volkswagen, check it out. Head to their website, check out anything you might want to tinker with, customize it yourself, and then also head to your local Volkswagen dealer and tell them that John and Richard Rush from Drive Radio sent you.